so much great feedback from that event.
Yeah, what an event.
Yeah, national conference is going to be it's going to be a lot like that, we'll say, where it's I don't know, would you say it's a little bit more like the good old days? Might even be a Reggie appearance or two.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yep,
we'll see where Reggie is.
Yeah. So we're over time already.
Good job on that video.
Yeah, that was a great one.
That was a great
one. I don't want you guys to skimp on anything, Meredith and Ashley. I'll run through the leaderboards to make some time, and we'll go 10 minutes over if we have to. But Meredith, you've taken a step out of the Quarterly Rocks meeting, jumping in here with Ashley to talk about some money on the Money Muscle Mind segment. Good to have you.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
I love a good Rocks meeting.
I know. They're really hard to beat.
I love them.
So you get to hear all the good things we've accomplished, all the good
it's
things
really
we're identifying and solving. Amazing. And
yeah,
give us your 15-second download of Rocks.
Well, and for those of you that might not know what we're talking about, we do the EOS system here. A lot of you have taken that on yourselves. Every 90 days, we do a quarterly meeting, 2 days. We have a big group, so we take 2 days to do it. That is so cool because you can come out of your business and look at this 30,000 foot view and vantage point. And you're just, every quarter, I am just so blown away at what we get accomplished around here. And then we put our heads back down, right? And then you go for 90 more days. So just some exciting things the team is doing there, and they're just doing good and always fighting for your highest possible good. That is always what is going on in that room. So anyway, they always fill me up, and then at about 6 o'clock, I have a hard time even holding my eyes open to have a conversation with my family. So, but they're intense and they're awesome. So, and Sweet Todd Spivey, as he always is doing, is thinking out for me. So, got me on right here at the beginning because I didn't want to miss time with you all.
Love it. All right, let's dig right on into it. Ashley, you out there, ready to rock and roll?
I am.
There you are, monster producer, monster mama, monster everything that you put your mind to. It seems like you're really, really good at it and a perfect person to join Meredith. So Mary, you want me to start the share?
Sure. I didn't know there was a share. That's where I am.
We have a couple of slides here, but Ashley, tell them.
Yeah, I think we can wait on that. I think let's start with just talking to Ashley. Sometimes I don't want to block her, but y'all have seen her on the leaderboards. Brian, I'll let you speak to the numbers. I got the privilege of really just having a conversation with Ashley last week and hearing a little bit of your story. We don't have enough time to go on it in here. We're going to have about 10 minutes, but don't worry. She's going to be on Ripple on our Instagram live coming up in May, where we're going to be able to go deeper into just really understanding the amazing things, not just what you've accomplished, but just who you are as a human. And I'm really excited to highlight that. And I'm talking to you, and you've got 2 children, young children at home. You homeschool. You said you had 22 dogs. That's what I was like, I don't know about this. What? And then I realized they were puppies. I was like, okay, that makes
I'm not sure that makes it any easier. That's what makes it way harder.
Easier, but it just more of just, well, I was questioning your sanity. I'm just going to name it. I was just like, what is going on? So 22 dogs, and 3 months in a row have written over $100,000 in premium with exceptional issue rates. So you're not just out writing business, you're getting it issued and you're taking care of families. But our month of money on Money Muscle Mind, we're going to go right into it. You're making money. You're making money. And so I want you to tell a little bit about your story, because what I think you do so well, which talked to what we mentioned last week about Lynn Twist, is this abundance mindset and how you have able to capitalize. It's about abundance of time and how you're doing that, because you have exactly the number of hours in a day that any of us do. And somehow you are squeezing more out of that than a lot are. And I think when you tell a little bit about your story, you did you're such the beautiful example of moving, like we talked about last week, not using the word anxiety, but moving from anxiety and using the word concern. You had concern over your life and how you were going to walk through it, and you became unstoppable, right? You became unstoppable in that. And so I will hush now, but Ashley, just so grateful to have you on here to speak to us today on money.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. First of all, it's always crazy to think about, I remember when I saw the video of you guys starting this and, like literally starting Symmetry from the ground up, and just seeing in a matter of years how many lives you can completely change. It's just mind blowing. And again, it goes to like the limitations thing that I try to talk to everyone about, as far as like the limits we put on ourselves are completely made up. And you guys took that same mindset and starting something. And now, I mean, just look at what it's turned into. So thank you to you guys over and over. I will never thank you guys enough for, creating something like this that has changed my life and my kids' life, and the zoo that I do have at my home that I, question my sanity on a daily basis. So I'm with you there. But yeah, my name is Ashley Richard. I am direct to the most amazing Ryan Miller, who we just heard from. You guys can all see that he is truly a one-of-a-kind human being, him and his wife. I've never met anyone or any family, not just Ryan and Michelle, literally their entire family. I've never met people as extraordinary as them. So unbelievably grateful for them. But I've been in Symmetry for, just over 3 years. I did not start in the best of circumstances. That's kind of an understatement. So I was trying to get out of a really toxic situation. I had just filed for divorce. I had to, my first conversation with Ryan, I was just in tears, trying to file for Medicaid, trying to get on food stamps. I mean, I had nothing. I'm not on food stamps anymore. Very happy to say that. I'm not on Medicaid. I can pay for insurance. I have a home, I have a car, I have like all these basic necessities that sometimes people take for granted. So yeah, I'm just grateful, happy, hopeful, overwhelmed with just gratitude of everyone that played a part in, what I kind of did the last 3 months, which was also, questioning my sanity, because nobody in their right mind wants to go write that much premium. But, there was a point behind it. So fire away, Meredith, with whatever you got for me.
Yeah.
I'm super glad I get to chat with you about this.
I know. And again, I know we don't have enough time today, but I thought something that was just really important is you talked to me a little bit just about your why, and really understanding at a core level for you, Ashley. Can you name exactly what it is that puts you in that kind of motion to create that kind of energy to now create this kind of life for you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, to my core, I mean, since childhood, I grew up and not going through things I shouldn't have had to go through as a kid. I mean, I grew up with abuse and trauma and just like all of these things. And so I'm wired differently than someone who has not gone through those things. And so in just the last 3 years, I mean, I've spent a lot of time just trying to understand myself and my, way of thinking and responding and reacting and all of that stuff. And so putting all these puzzle pieces together, it's like, me, myself as a human being from childhood to adulthood, it's just shattered, in all of these pieces. And so what Symmetry kind of did for me is, the realization of it's an opportunity to start at rock bottom. That's probably the greatest opportunity that anyone can have. And I got to pick the pieces that I wanted to rebuild myself with. And then the people around me got to almost be like the glue of like putting me back together. And so, doing something that no one's done before, that's me speaking without having to say anything. That's me speaking very loudly to, people that damaged me, my kids, and put us through like very, very difficult, painful things. And it's like me saying, hey, you cannot control me. I'm taking control back. I'm not going to be like you. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be good. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to use all of this as motivation to create something that your mind couldn't fathom and my mind can. And this is what separates kind of like the mediocre to, you know, the good to the great to the extraordinary. Is like, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to push through to get to the best version of yourself? Because it's not about $300,000. That's great. I made 6 figures and it's April. That's unbelievable to me. But what it's about is like the journey, the process, all of the people that you meet along the way, all the people that you get to drop these little seeds and kind of wait and see what they grew into. And so people did that for me. I mean, they dropped seeds of hope and positivity and support. I mean, Ryan and Michelle, they showed up for me every single time I needed them. I mean, they planted a whole garden in my heart. So it's like being able to be around people that do that. You're just like I have to give this back. I have to show other people what's possible here. It's not even a question, it's a have to.
And what I love is it just it just amplifies what we're talking about, is when we're able to tap in to our core of who we are and what our why is. We have an abundance amount of energy, right? Like it doesn't go out. It's not from a place of scarcity of, oh, I can't do this because this was my background, or I can't do this because I don't have this. It's about, because you focused on what you did have, about the people around you and who poured into you, focus and you put your time and energy there, the abundance grew from there, right? And money is a byproduct. It is an awesome thing, but it's through the abundance of which you used and tapped into is why you are flourishing. And it's why it never ends. And there's now not just a finite amount, there's an infinite amount of energy and passion that you will be able to do from here on out. So it was just such an unbelievable, you're such an unbelievable story, and amplify and exemplify exactly what we're talking about. So Brandon, Spivey, Casey, anything you wanted to add there?
I think I speak for everyone that it's so motivational, hearing you speak and hearing you, have the vulnerability to kind of share what you've shared, and then to see, where you were when you started this journey and where you're going. And, like, I'm not where I need to be. I'm not where I want to be. It's like, but you've made so many tremendous strides. I think it's just such a great message for everybody that's listening in. There are a lot of people listening in that where you are is not who you are. It doesn't have to be who you are, but you have to be abundant minded, like Meredith's talking about. You have to be very clear in what it is that you want and where you want to go, for you to be able to kind of push through the roadblocks that are going to pop up, regardless of what it is that you're doing. If it's insurance, if it's anything else that you're doing, like, things are going to jump up. They're going to prevent you from going to where you're wanting to go. But you seem to be a lot more focused on becoming the type of person that it's necessary to be to get the things that you're wanting. And I just can't thank you enough. I wish we had more time. I want to get Spivey. We need to get Ashley an hour at least.
Well, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have her on our Ripple call. Y'all put on your calendars,
Yes.
May 25th at 2:30. The Power of a Decided Mind will be the title of it. So
Love
you
it. Love
mark your calendars on that. Is once you make that decision, again, you became unstoppable. So anyway, just looking forward.
I want to, before we let you go, Ashley, I want one piece of advice for people that are looking in. They could be here for the first time. They could be here for the 41st time or the 5,000th time. What do they need to do to start this path that you've been on? What are a few things, if you have those, that they can be focused on?
Gosh, that's really hard to do one, but I do a lot of self-development stuff that's like the core of everything. So number one is just work on yourself. And I'm just going to read something to everyone that I came across last night where I was like, man, that is perfect. So I'll leave everyone with this advice. Anything that annoys you is teaching you patience. Anyone who abandons you is teaching you how to stand on your own 2 feet. Anything that angers you is teaching you forgiveness and compassion. Anything that has power over you is teaching you how to take your power back. Anything you hate is teaching you unconditional love. Anything you fear is teaching you courage to overcome your fear. Anything you can't control is teaching you how to let go. Everything in life is teaching you something. So I'll just leave everyone with that advice for today. And call
That
your
is
Call
great
your-
advice. I love it.
That's
And congratulations,
Beautiful.
Ashley. You'll see why in a minute, but I think we already knew, not to ruin any surprises, but you were the #1 qualifier over the first 90-day
Spoiler
period.
alert.
So a little bit of a spoiler alert, but we've talked for the last 3 months about how you're doing $100,000 a month. So I don't think it's a major surprise, but so proud of you and so grateful for everything that you're doing. And obviously for you being here and sharing with us. We're gonna get a lot more out of you where that came from. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Great job, Ashley.
Oh man, what a great
Woo!
last
I've already
40
cried 3 times. We haven't got the
minutes.
leaderboard.
We ain't even gotten to the leaderboards and Brad yet, and Brad's going to have an amazing call with us as well. So let me hit some leaderboards real quick. And Mary, I know you've probably got to jump, so thank you, and we'll be joining you here shortly.
Love you, Meredith.
The Soul of Money, as we were just talking about, if you haven't downloaded the book or purchased the book to read it, please do so. You will love it. And then if you want to scan to register this, you can find all this on HQ, look into the Ripple model everywhere they are. And as I said, today we've got Mr. Brad Smith on with us in a second. So if it feels like I'm burning through some leaderboards, it is. And I apologize. Ariane Gergeis, $10,897. Spivey, give me the clearly wrong pronunciation of this name, please. As if mine was not clearly wrong, but I want to hear yours.
Arian Gergus.
I like that.
Thank you.
Not too bad. Top producer for the week, Joanne Castellano with $24,209. A lot of good producers on there. Look at there. Top app count writer for the week is Monique Alrawi. She's no stranger to writing a monster number of applications, 20 for the week. Well done. Top Medicare sup producer was Adele Vincent. Top disability producer was Flavia Tierney Berthon, $3,097. Top IUL producer was, good gracious, Omar Diaz with $35,000 in production. And then you look down at Caden Sanchez and Scott Summers and David Vogel. And I mean, I don't know what to say other than you guys are absolutely killing it. Keep helping those families. It's unbelievable. Top annuity producer for the week was Juan Mancha, $200,000. I really like that name, by the way. Top DFL producer for the week, Gabriella and Ike Munello, $30,500. Top base shop new writers is Jamie Susie with 7. In the direct, it's also Susie with 9. 7 new writers, 9 in her organization. Great weeks also by Pogue, Martin, and Stubbs. Unbelievable. Whoops. Top base shop SNAs is Beth Maddox with 2. On the direct side, it's Mike and Sarah Pappas with 4. Good job, guys. Top season new agents are all the season new agents for last week. Mizell, Schamer, Burgess, Zupke, Gray, Hakeeser, Monroe, Tierney Berthan, McShane, McIntosh, Davis, Trammell, Tyson, Diorio, Franklin, Locklear, Clemson, Cassell, Mendez, Coates, Dimitre, Elisano, Bates, Waltz, and Williams.
Let's
These
go.
names are really tripping me up today. And I
You did great, though.
I haven't had any feel freeze in a long time, and I don't hope that's not negatively affecting me.
Do you think there's any chance that Keisha Locklear in the Hunt agency might have anything to do with another Locklear?
Heather?
Gino, let me know.
Oh, Gino. We're not going back to the 80s Melrose Place or 90s or whatever that was. Scott Peterson with $26,990. Jennifer Gray and Sue Hinojo with 4 recruits. And Sue Hinojo, Nicole Russell, Lillian Strimple, and Kristen Mothershead, all with 2 new writers for the key leaderboard. Agency owners, it's Gino himself with almost $60,000. He's not the offspring of Heather Locklear. Any relation to Heather Locklear? Wouldn't think so.
Could be.
Ashley Richard Gabby and Fred Roethlisberger, Jerry Choate, and Theo Pritchett, all with 4 recruits. 4 recruits for Ashley, by the way, on top of everything else on the production side that she's doing. We didn't even talk about all that. Craig McManamon, 6 new writers. Love it. Top agency director is Sarah Reineke with 142,000. Ben Sefapor with 18 recruits, and Sarah Reineke with 11 new writers. Way to go. Top rad is Jamie Susie with $120,000. Christopher Menifee and Marty Valor with 9 recruits, and Jamie Susie with 9 new writers. John Ziller with 133,000 to be the top managing vice president. Chris Cook with 22 recruits, and Christopher Clark with 4 new writers, tied with Griff Martin with 4 new writers. Top senior vice president is the Godfather with $192,000. Mike and Sarah Pappas with 16 recruits, and Tony with 8 new writers. Mank Tank, top EVP with $146,868. Scott Mank also with 13 recruits, and can he nail it? Oh, shoot. Darren Stubbs snuck in there with Miranda Martin, 7 new writers. Stole the turkey. Ryan and Michelle Miller, his numbers just keep going, man. Ryan and Michelle Miller, 25 recruits. That's why they keep going. Ashley and Tyler Harrison tied with Ryan and Michelle Miller with 15 new writers each. Is that that may be a turkey leg instead of a full turkey? So you don't get the full thing. You get, maybe that's what they mean.
See what you did there.
Right. Danny Young, 537,000 in premium to be the top senior partner. 20 recruits. Good week by Smith too, though. And 19. So 20 recruits for Danny and 19 new writers. It's a rolling thing, but that's a hell of a conversion rate. I'll just say that. Marshall Whalen still on top, 1.1 million to Pritchett's 1 million to Pogue's 514. Marshall Whalen with 72 recruits and 46 new writers. That's going to be hard to beat. Keep that going, buddy. Kevin Purdy is the top direct. He's already in Argentina. Did you guys know that? I'm heading there. He's getting us started. Yep.
I haven't
Marshall
packed
Whalen.
yet.
Huh?
I haven't packed yet. You didn't tell me.
I'm sorry. Marshall Whalen, 29 recruits in his direct organization and 9 new writers for Jamie Susie. And last but not least is the base shop. Susie with 65,000. Ben Sefapor with 9 recruits, and Jamie with 7 new writers. Well done. Call-in leads are everywhere. Can I just say quick plug for next week's call? Put in your calendar, be here. Casey, Palmer, Sam Buckler, Spivey, the whole gang is going to be here talking about leads, lead pricing changes that are coming. Some are going up a little bit. Some are going down a little bit. Call-in leads, analog leads in general, along with bonus leads in general, in the last 3 to 4 months have seen a pretty significant raise in close ratios. So anybody that's made a full transition over to digital, don't be afraid to kind of keep some toes dipped in the analog world, because we can produce more mortgage protection leads than we are on the mail-in side. We can, and those close ratios are higher than they've ever been. Kind of like what we saw, Casey, back in 2011, even 12, 13, like the data was less, but the intent was stronger. I think we're seeing something very similar. I think Switchboard has some things to do with that. The market changing has a lot to do with that as well. But if you're not getting your fill or not getting exactly what you want on the digitals, don't abandon the analog. There is a whole lot of juice in that fruit. Here are our top 20 qualifiers. Don't forget, we're going to 200 qualifiers, and we're getting ready to make another announcement coming up about this contest here next month. So stay tuned for that. But as I said, no surprise, Ashley Richard with 207,000. And look at Joanne Castellano. Only 88 apps, but $172,249. Strong issue rates from most of these folks, if not all of these people. This is just the top 20. Head over to HQ to see if you're in the top 200, because you'll be fighting for $100,000. What do they win? All the way down to Sean Kim at $200. You can see the lead credit breakdown. Ashley Richards is going to have $3,000 at the top to go invest in more leads, to write more premium, protect more families, and lead herself into the championship round. But top 3, congratulations, Jake Van Duzen. We call him the Deuce, 1,500. Joanna Castellano also at 2,000. Not too shabby here for a qualifying round. A lot of cash being given out in the form of lead credits. Well done. Big news coming on Lighthouse Leads next week. We are in beta. Pricing will drop next week, so you'll know how you can get in there. There'll actually be a 20% discount on beta. All the details coming next week, but here's what you need to know. These leads are closing at a rate higher than we've ever seen from the Quality Digitals. Any digital leads that we've been working, these are working exceptionally well. Spivey, I was hearing from Hanson yesterday, had an agent, friend of yours actually, guy that you know well, 15 leads, 15 contacts, 15 appointments, wrote $14,000 in premium. Those were on Lighthouse digital mortgage protection leads.
He's pretty fired up, let me tell you. He is pretty fired up.
I am too. And I try to all
He
right.
came to us
Close
from a
ratios
place.
listen, go ahead, buddy.
I was just gonna say too, that he came to us from a place that did not have these types of resources, and the gratitude he has and being able to see what it is that we're generating and putting out there compared to where he came from is just, it's significant. And people need to know, you got to be out there recruiting and looking in the right waters, but there's a whole lot of eyeballs on what we're doing right now. And the market is prime for a massive land grab.
Yes, it is. So get into this beta next week. It will be opening to a much broader audience. And that's just one of many stories that we're hearing. Obviously, close ratios may dip a little bit when you go from 100 people to 2,000 people ordering leads. We're going to keep these things dialed in when it comes to value-based pricing, just like we do with everything else. But next week, I'm excited for the crew to hear from Sam Buckler, because he'll be talking about how the leads are generated, give you some tips on what we're seeing. We're going to show the pricing results from all the lead changes. Some of them are going a little bit up, some of them are going a little bit down. But everybody pay attention to what I'm going to say right here. Bonus leads are closing at a higher rate than they ever have since we've been tracking bonus lead production. Some of our bonus lead pricing that is going to change is going to be as high as a 12 times rate of return on your investment from the data that we're seeing. We want to move this inventory because what we're seeing is there are not just hundreds or thousands, but potentially hundreds of thousands of people in those bonus lead pools that need your help. And with the work, with the help of Switchboard and everything else that we've got, guys, I'm just telling you, if you're a new agent, if you don't have as much to invest in leads, or even if you're a seasoned agent that writes a lot of business, you need to be looking at the bonus lead pool. We're going to share some more data with you guys on that next week. All right.
Tyler.
Social Q, what do you say? TJ,
What's up, guys?
how's it going, buddy?
Hey, can you stop the share real quick for me? You got
You
to see
know
this
I can.
backdrop because I did it especially for you, Brandon.
Oh, nice.
Look at this.
Look at that, man. That's the wall of semi-fame,
Wall of fame.
the wall of something. Pope's probably the only one that's really excited about his picture. He gets the rock and roll picture, and I get the comb over guy yelling at the car lot in case he gets.
I love
fingered.
that. I love
You're
that video. I love that video
Yeah.
so much. Though I always think about the goods with Jeremy Piven. It's just the greatest.
I love that video too. It is one of my favorites. I have to break that one back out.
You ready
So
for
talk
me?
to us, buddy? What's the good news?
Let's go. Hey, we are off to the races with Social Q. I want to throw you guys a couple of testimonials. We've gotten hundreds in, but here's a few that I thought we would highlight on today's call. We got Holly Tatum Cruz, says Social Q has been amazing. I've interviewed 5 people, 2 that are licensed and 3 non-licensed. 3 are moving into next steps, all via social media. I also have done 1 policy review. My reach went from literally 35 on my business page to over 5,000. Incredible.
I love that.
Abby
Nice.
Gill said, I had no idea what I was getting into with Social Q, and I'm in a place where traction is extremely important to my business. I am so glad I chose to take part in this training. Proof is undeniable. Post reach is up over 25,000%. Engagement is up 100%. I've already increased my followers by 100%. Love that. And I love the intentionality, right? The way she said that kind of had a little bit of angst of like, I can't waste my time.
Yep.
Right. So this has to actually be what you're saying it is. Lastly, we've got Tracy Young. I made a social Q policy review post a couple weeks ago, and someone I went to high school with, didn't know her at the time, booked herself on my calendar. We've spoken several times over the last week or so. I just wrote her for full mortgage protection and then some, already approved, and an IUL, 2 apps for 10,246 in APV, and should have some major referrals coming as well.
Yeah.
Guys, we got enrollment starting for the very next agent activation, which is Social Q class 002. Enrollment is going to start this Friday. So that's April 21st. So be on the lookout for communication on that. And enrollment will go till April 28th. So it's a week from Friday to Friday. Go to socialqactivate.com once enrollment opens up, and we'll be sending out communication to you guys. And I've got a goal. We're going to have 1,000 people join Social Q class 002. So I want to hear in the chat, which one of you guys is it going to be? Who's ready to roll with us and come along on this journey in social media? It has been so much fun. I think one of the best things about it is the relationships that are being created by agents all over the country, now actually being able to see what everybody else is doing and engage and comment and go back and forth. The camaraderie, it's the word of the year, engage, has been incredible. So join us, and we'll see you there.
Thank you, buddy.
Well done, buddy.
Really-
Hey, we'll see you in Argentina too, Brandon.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to see you guys. I'm really pumped up about that. Really pumped up about this. We're gonna have a lot to catch up on, buddy.
Dude,
Sir.
is everybody going to Argentina but me?
Sounds
What's
like
up?
it. Sorry. Sounds like
I'm
you need to
hanging
get
back
your
with you.
production
I'm
up.
hanging back with you, Spivey. I'm in
Thank
the
you,
trenches
Casey.
with you. Me and everyone else out there. We'll stay in the trenches.
I
Thank you.
appreciate you guys.
Y'all
staying in the
have fun in
trenches.
Patagonia.
Thank you.
You little
I
devils.
am really excited about Patagonia. It's my 20th
you-
anniversary gift.
You deserve it, buddy. It's going to be so awesome, man.
So fired up. We're going down to Argentina with AMAM. This is the last AMAM trip that's not going to be Symmetry only. Don't forget, next year Switzerland. So they put on a heck of a trip. Get your butts in gear. Get focused on what they're doing. Go write the premium, because you're not going to want to miss Switzerland. I can promise you.
Yes.
Thank you, Tyler. Razor Ridge lead pricing updates. We've talked to the directs. We've talked to the agency owners. The updates, more is coming on May 1st. The pricing changes are starting on May 1st. The pricing changes are really only affecting the lower, newer agents, because our data is very clear. If you are brand new to the industry, some of those 80, 85, 90% contracts are not quite as successful on Razor Ridge leads. That is probably a training issue. So we're also working on that, because I've heard from Gino's team. I've heard from Amy Fine's team. I just heard from Miranda Martin's team that they actually have a lot of success. We're not saying that if you're new, you can't work these leads. We're just saying that, unfortunately, we pay subsidy costs on leads. On every lead that we produce, we pay a subsidy. And our data is very clear. They're not quite as successful at the lower levels. And so we have to raise the rates on those prices a little bit, or else it really can hurt the organization. Now, what will that equate to? I think the starting price will be somewhere around $42.50, probably about a 15% increase in costs. We can all work together to drive that cost back down. But there are other options. We talked about bonus leads. I'm telling you, bonus leads are killing it right now. There are more analog leads that are available, from call-ins to direct mail, and there are other digital leads that are out there as well. So we'll keep you posted. Join us next week. We're going to give a breakdown on all the different lead types. Casey will be. I'll be in Argentina with Tyler.
No, you're not going to hop on?
I might not hop on that one. Actually, I think that trip will be over, but we're heading down to Chile.
Patagonia.
So,
What's the time difference?
actually 1 hour ahead.
Wow.
Argentina
Oh, that's
Standard
it?
Time, they call it. So right
Oh.
now it would be, I don't know what time it is now, but it's an hour later than it is now.
That's not bad.
Which is great. I think that's what Pritchett's on too, right? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I think it is. I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
More info coming on Razor Ridge leads. Engage National Conference. We keep talking about it. We're going to keep talking about it until you all get your butts registered, because I'm telling you, we love data. Data don't lie. You don't show up to Denver, you can kiss your butt goodbye. That was just rhyming. It doesn't really mean it is that harshly. It's just chances are not in your favor if you don't engage.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what
Yep.
you're saying.
Leaders, get your owners packs. EngageNow2023.com. If you don't have owners packs, then Casey's going to call you and give you a virtual slap.
Personal,
Like a wake up.
personal virtual slap.
Like
I will
that.
do it.
He will. He's very ruthless with his virtual slaps. EngageNow2023.com. Go get your owners packs, and hopefully you can get engaged enough to live the sweet life. We've got all kind of contests going on for those promoters. So head over to HQ, also producers. Head over to HQ for all the details. We're going to start tracking those and leaderboarding those so that you can all see where you stand. And we're
Don't
probably
forget.
gonna put some bulletproof steps in there to cut out the sandbagging. No sandbagging.
Yep. Don't forget the leaders reception
Yep.
on the first night. You have to have 15 with you. So you need an owner's pack and a half filled up in order to get an invite to the leaders reception. So if you were standing up in that at this last Denver conference, if you were standing up looking over the handrail at the leaders reception, wishing you were down there,
Yep.
you know what to do.
That's right. Speaking of, there it is.
There's that handrail.
There's the handrail that you were
There's
just
the
looking at.
handrail. That's right.
Love it. Love it. Man, Todd Talks. Spivey, looking like you got something in the mail.
Man, shout out to Ann Groff, who got me out of the doghouse with Casey. She sent me a new loofah, so I was able to replace his that
What about my
accidentally
loop?
borrowed
so
in
that
the
is my
tub.
loop. Okay.
That's your loofah.
That is my
Spivey
loop.
has
guys.
no problems using another man's loofah, but you needed the new loofah.
Yeah.
I thought I was borrowing Brandon's. He told me to use the brown one.
That's fair.
Huge shout out to Ann. But guys, if you've not checked it out, break out your phone, take a little picture of the QR code, check it out on YouTube channel. You can hear from Absolute, one of the best humans, all on the topic of engagement and how he personally protects his energy so that he makes sure that he can show up in the right way in the moments that we really need him. So guys, this episode broke every record that you could break when it came to a YouTube channel for Todd Talk. And I'm so grateful and think you will not want to miss this. So go check it out and stay tuned. We got one more episode coming up for this season. Then we're going to take a little break for the summertime. And I am going to get to sit down and spend some time with my forever upline, Mr. Danny Young. So be on the lookout for that to come. But check it out, guys. Give it a watch. I think you'll get a lot of value out of the time I got to spend with Mr. Casey.
I love it. Got a new Symmetry coaching cohort. Is B-Dubs on to speak through this one, or is this maybe someone else?
I think we hit it pretty good last week, but he might be
Okay.
on. He's probably in a quarterly meeting.
You can register at coaching@quility.com. If you haven't already registered, led by leadership expert Symmetry Savant. I like that. Dr. Mark Herringshaw. All the info is here. It's also at HQ. Go check it out. If you need some coaching, which we all do, invest in yourself. Upcoming events. We got a call Thursday tomorrow with Transamerica. We've got a call Thursday also tomorrow on Advanced Markets with Jeff Sigworth. More and more and more. One of the best teachers, I swear, in the industry. What he's done for production at Symmetry and Quility as a whole it can't be understated. So he makes the complex easy. He teaches you how to communicate with clients. When you get off of one of his trainings, the first thing you're going to say is, I think I need a policy on myself. This stuff is so good. Meredith sat in and listened to him the other day, and she's like, we got to get more policies. I was like, babe, we got a lot of emails. We're good. Nope, we need to go get some more. I was like, let's do it. I'm on board. So be prepared. Go do it. DFL also on Friday, and the next Tuesday, the FIF resets with Burks, Sigworth, and you never know who's going to be a special guest into those calls. That's everything I've got. And I know that was a lot. And Brad Smith, I just want to personally apologize to you because not only did we have a lot, but the speakers that we had before you got to follow that. And I mean, I have all faith in the world in you. You're going to kill it. I'm not questioning your ability, but I'm just saying.
I was just like, man, this call is so good. I don't want to ruin it.
Ruin
So
it.
good.
funny.
Man, you're kind of a man that needs no introduction. So I won't waste a lot of time introducing you, other than to say, if you haven't had a chance to hear from Brad, you need to spend as much time with or around this gentleman as you can, because he is one of the finest people we've ever had the opportunity to work with. And you know how much we love you, buddy. You just kind of set the example in terms of how to be a good human being for a lot of people out there. And production doesn't hurt either, man. You kill it on that front too. But a great leader, great human. And we're super proud to have you on, buddy. Super grateful.
Man, thank you so much. Honored to be here. You guys have changed my life. It's just, and I look back at the change that, when Matt and I came here, and how much life is different, how much I've learned from you guys. And in fact, that's what today's talk is about, is learn how to think different. And you guys have just, there's not really anyone I can think of in my life that have had as much impact as you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
And so just so grateful for you guys and everything you've done for me and everything you've done for so many people, all the people on this call. And Edward Pritchett too. You guys have all been just the best example, the example that I needed. And like you said, it's not about just the business stuff. It's about being great human beings. That's what attracted me to this company, to you guys. It was you guys, it was the leaders, it was walking into that, Swananoa office where you guys are right now. I can remember walking in, and just the feeling I had is these are my people.
Yep.
So
we felt the same
Feeling
way.
was 100% mutual. That's
right.
what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll jump in because I know that we don't have a whole lot of time left, but going back to that time when I first started with Symmetry 10 years ago. 10 years ago it was the last week of March that I got contracted. And most people probably know our story, but for those that don't, we were $280,000 in debt. We were at the worst place that we possibly could be in financially, just from a psychological and emotional standpoint, losing a business. After 10 years of growing a business, we lost it. And if anyone on this call that has had a career for a long time or a business, it's part of your identity. And when it's gone, it's like, I don't know who I am anymore. And I just remember thinking, why am I not where I'm at? Where I want to be? I know there's this life out there that I want. I know it exists. It's this life that Casey, you talked about in that first corporate overview that everyone's seeing, this cash flow quadrant, that time and money, not trading time for money. I wanted both. I wanted my money bank account to be full, and I wanted my time bank account to be full. And I knew I wasn't going to get it as an employee or even as a specialist. And I remember seeing that cash flow quadrant. Most people have seen it. Employee at the top left, specialist, and S on the bottom left. And then on the top right is the business owner, and the bottom right is the investor. And the difference between that left side and the right side is the left trades time for money. And you cannot have both if you're trading one for the other. It's impossible. The only way to have that is to have a system-driven income. And I saw what you guys built here, and it was this opportunity for me to go from the left side to the right, from that specialist quadrant to the right. Now, we start out in the specialist quadrant here, but we have an opportunity to learn how to move over to the right, but most people won't do it. And here's why: because you can't just come to Symmetry and expect it's going to happen. You got to learn to think different. I knew that I was where I was at because of the way I thought. And it's nothing wrong with it. We go through 14,000 hours of education to learn how to be great employees and learn how to be great specialists, but no one ever teaches us how to become millionaires in the B and the I quadrant, because I think everyone would agree you can't teach somebody something you've never done before. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we have to learn from people who have done it. And I think back, there's some lessons that I learned in elementary school that applied to everyone on this call. I remember, if you guys can think back to when you were in elementary school, if you have kids in elementary school, you guys remember what your favorite time of the day was? For me, it was recess. Couldn't wait. Like I remember seeing the clock up on the wall. I knew exactly when that second hand hit, when the bell would go off, and I'd get up like a second beforehand. I remember it vividly. And what does the teacher say when it's time to go to recess? She said, form a line. See, this business, we play follow the leader. And at recess, it doesn't matter if you're at the front of the line, the middle of the line, or the back of the line. Does everybody end up at recess? Everybody. So I knew that if I just got in that line, I'm going to end up at recess. Well, back then, I don't think they diagnosed people with ADD, but I'm sure I had it. And there was one day, the bell went off and there were two lines. There was a long line and there was a short line. And I thought I was going to be smart and I was going to get in the short line because I wanted to get to recess quicker. There's a lot of people on this call that have had a career in the past, and they took a job, they started a business, and they didn't know where the destination was. They just wanted to get there quicker. And they realized later, I realized what that short line, where it led. I didn't realize it until I was walking to the principal's office. See, the long line went right, the left line went to the principal's office, and I get in line and I see this paddle. See, back then they spanked with paddles. And I said, I didn't do it. I don't even know why I'm here. I didn't do it. And they said, that's what everyone said before you. Boom. And I got spanked, and it hurt. I can feel it to this day. I can still feel that sting. A lot of people can still feel the sting of a bad decision in the past, of where they were. Because here's the lesson I learned. It matters who's leading the line and where they're going. And I have to know before I get in that line who's at the front and where they're going. There's so many times, like I interviewed when I closed our last business for 10 years, I interviewed at different places, and I knew that I needed to know that the people I'm following are going to where I want to go, that the work I put in will lead me to the lifestyle that I want. And I saw Brian Pope at the front, Brandon Casey right there, Edward Pritchard right behind them. And I thought, man, if I can just have someone to follow. You guys realize, like back in school, you had your A+ students, right? I was not an A+ student, but I knew, now I'm not advocating cheating, okay? But I'm just saying that if you have an A+ student sitting to your left, you know that if they get 100% in their test and you answer the questions identically, you're going to get 100%. So in school, it's called cheating, but in business, that's called masterminding. I knew if I just had an A+ student to watch, the best lessons in this business are caught, they're not taught. I just needed someone to watch. And I knew that if I stayed in line, and here's the other lesson I've learned about this that relates to that line, is the best leaders are also the best followers. I've seen people in this business that are in the middle of the line and they think they have a faster route. They think I can get to recess faster if I go this way or that way. And they take their team out of line and they end up at the principal's office. And I realized that I don't have time to reinvent the wheel. I trust Brandon and Casey and the whole entire team at corporate that they do their research. There's reasons, I may not understand them all, but I'll understand later. There's reasons why they do what they do, and it's our job just to stay in line and lead our team right behind them so we can all get to recess. So thinking different. I can't just do what they do. I have to start to think how they think. I have to think. I want to know, how does Casey, how does Brandon, how does Brian Pope, how do they think? Because that affects how you solve problems, right? How you scale, how you grow. See, that the E quadrant values security. Now, we all value security. Everyone values security. I value security, but it's not at the very top. For the E quadrant, security is at the very top. And my belief is if you want security, go to prison. You got maximum security. They're going to pay your light bills. You got a bed to sleep on. You got food. You don't have to worry about a thing. But what are you trading for that security? You're trading freedom. Freedom is what business owners, that right side of the quadrant, business owners, investors, that's what they value most is freedom. The S quadrant values control. Those are the ones you'll hear people say, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Right? So how does this relate to this business? There's so many people in this business that I see that say, I don't have time in the day. I am constantly busy. I don't have time to do enough production. I'm leading people. I'm training. I'm recruiting them. How you approach this business will determine if you ever crossed over to the B quadrant. And so you've got to look at what I learned from Brandon Casey and Edward is you've got to learn to think like an entrepreneur. There's a book that I read 3 different times that has probably been the most impactful book on helping me shift my thinking from the E and the S quadrant over to the B and the I quadrant. And I've talked about this before. It's called E-Myth. E stands for entrepreneur, by Michael Gerber, E-Myth. And he talks about 3 roles in your business. You got the technician, you got the manager, and you got the entrepreneur. Now, the technician is the person doing the work of the technicianal work. Like if you own a bakery, the person doing the baking is the technician. A photography business is the photographer. In our business, the technician work is the agent. Then you got the manager. The manager is going to do the hiring, the recruiting, the training, kind of oversight of the business, right? And then you got the entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur role is visionary. They're thinking of, where do I want this business, what do I want it to look like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? They're looking at their business from a 30,000-foot view. And what he talks about in the book is that an ideal business owner is a third technician, a third manager, and a third entrepreneur. They're not just one, they're all 3. But an entrepreneur will approach the technician's work differently. Here's what I mean. When I came here, I was okay being a top producer. I wanted to be in the leaderboards, but I wasn't doing it for the income. I needed the income, but that was the reason I was doing it is because I wanted to understand the business. I wanted to perfect it for myself, and I wanted to be able to replace myself. So everything that we do, you'll see that Summit was created for this reason. Why was Summit? I don't want to, like Ryan talked about, I don't want to be everything to everybody. I want to be what Casey talked about, the traffic cop. If I am trying to teach and train and recruit and produce and book appointments, I can't do it all. I will not have enough time in the day. And I want whatever I do to duplicate, because here's the problem. This is the way most people train. If you guys remember kindergarten, you guys remember telephone? Some people call it whisper down the lane. This is the way that most IMOs train their people, is through telephone. Like, you remember, you'd whisper something in somebody's ear, and they'd whisper something in somebody else's ear, and so on and so on. And at the very end, the message is entirely different, ain't remotely the same. See, we as humans, the average human retains 7 to 10% of what we hear. Let's just say that everyone on this call is way above average, and you retain 50%. And so you go to the source, and you're learning 100. You go to the conference, you get on the conference calls, you're learning from the top, you're learning from the Ashley Richard and the Omar Diaz and these top people. And then you go do it. You remember half of it, and you go teach somebody else, and they remember half. So they're at 25%. And the next one's at, let's call it 12, and then 6, and then 3%. And most of the people in this business are getting 3% of the right information, 97% of the wrong information. So now we got dumb training dumber, and we're wondering why no one knows what they're doing. Well, what Summit has created, and I think the way that all the people at the top got to the top is we learned that we need to get everyone in front of 100% of the right information. And that can't come from us. That's got to come from being at conference, get on these conference calls, go to the source. Like, think of this. This is an analogy that Brian, I borrowed this, and I gave this at the Leadership Summit. I just think it's such a good analogy. Brian Delaney said this. He said, imagine, and I've kind of modified it a little bit, but imagine that you are leading a team of people through the desert, kind of like Moses did. You're taking them to the promised land. And you go into the desert. It is hot. You're miserable. It's sticky. You're so thirsty. And you get ahead of the group, and you stumble upon this oasis. And it's green, and it's lush, and there's this water. There's this spring, and it's cold, crisp water, and you take a drink, and it is the best tasting water you've ever had in your life. You just can't believe how how good this water tastes, and you go back and you find your group again, you say, oh, you guys wouldn't believe it. I found this oasis. It has the best, coldest water. You guys wouldn't believe it. And they say, well, how do we get some? And you say, open your mouth, and then you spit in it. Do you think that's the experience that they were hoping for? Or do you think it would have been a little bit more enjoyable for them if you had just led them to the source? But that's what so many people do in this business. They just regurgitate what they were taught, and then their people don't experience what they experienced. And so the best promoters in this business win. But it's our job. The only way we can do that, the only way we can be the traffic cop, is if we know what to point people to. So it's our job as leaders to know Summit, to know where the videos are. So when people call me and they say, hey, I got this objection, I'm not sure how to cover it. I'm having trouble finding the right product, whatever they're calling me, because you know what? You're going to get that same phone call 100 different times. I remember my first week, I recruited 10 people. I was answering the exact same questions every day until I realized, man, it would be nice if I had a few videos and I could just point people there, because here's the other thing that happens. What you do duplicates. Do you want what duplicates to be fast or slow? If it takes you forever to learn everything in this business, and then the next guy has to learn everything in this business in order to teach the next guy that learns, it's so slow. This is the reason why the FIFs are genius. It takes 2 to 3 years to become an expert in IULs and debt-free life and financial planning. It takes years. If you're recruiting somebody and have to take years to get them to be a professional and train someone else, that's so slow. It's not going to work. Where we have thousands of people that can go to click on a form, never done this before, click on a form and an FIF appointment, and you got somebody who has years of experience. Now we can train 1,000 people overnight to do that. That's how you scale fast. And that's why I just love the way that Brandon and Casey and Brian think, how they approach business. We've got to start elevating our thinking. Now, some people on this call that are still stuck in the self-employed quadrant where control is your highest value, and you're saying, well, I can do it better. If you want it done right, I got to do it myself. That's self-employed. Yeah, of course you can. You know what? I can book appointments probably better than an appointment setter. I can probably do most things in my business better than somebody I can hire it for. But Brian Pope said this to me. He said, if you can hire somebody to do something 80% as good as you can, that's good enough, because that frees up 100% of your time to go do something else. And you just continue that methodology. I need to replace somebody else for this. It's 80% as good as me. And that's the difference between the way a business owner thinks and a self-employed person thinks. And that's the hardest thing to make that shift. Because again, we've had 14,000 hours of education on how to do the left quadrant and not how to be on the right. And so here's what I would encourage everybody to do, because I know we're over our time. I would encourage everybody to start thinking about what things in my business that I do that take up my time that I can either hand off to someone else or point them to a resource. I always am thinking that. Everything, could I have someone else do what I'm doing, or could I point them to a resource, whether it's weekly conference calls, whether it's the daily huddles that Ryan talked about, whether it's a conference, videos, audios. So that to me is one of the biggest things, I think, Casey and Brandon, that was a shift for me that allowed us to scale and grow and start getting the results that we're looking for. So that, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Love it.
I mean,
Such great advice. Like simplifying it, you know?
So good. Oh man, we need that exactly what you just did at every single conference we have.
Oh my gosh.
That was so good, man.
Yep.
So good. Because it's just between our ears, you know?
Yep.
It's between our ears.
Yeah.
Got to think differently if you want something different.
Yep. Love it,
Well
man.
said, man.
Yeah. Brad, great stuff. I know we're out of time, but congratulations to everybody that stuck around, because you got a full day of amazing calls.
I say this all the time, but that literally might be the best hour and a half
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, it really was. That was so good.
Wow.
Till next week.
That's right.
Good luck next week, guest.
That's right. Thank you,
guys
Brad.
will
Thanks,
kill it
everyone.
next week too. It's gonna be a
We
good
love
one.
you, Brad.
Brandon,
you,
travel
buddy.
safe. Let's break
Go
a record this week, guys.
Break a
Thanks,
record.
everybody.
Go break a record.
See you guys.
See you guys.